We are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special Node.js Technical Steering Committee meeting of the 15th of October, 2025. We are hybrid this time, okay?
Hybrid setup.
A hybrid setup with James and Rui with me here at JSConf North America. Hello. And we are doing, and there's going to be the Collab Summit on Friday here as well. And this is although this is the regular Node.js TSC meeting, so we are here a little bit, here together, and then a few remotes. So let's start with our regular agenda. Okay. First thing, a few announcements. Don't think we have anything to do, but if there are any announcements, please. Oh, Richard.
Yeah, I guess for people that aren't aware that Node 25 should be released today, or is scheduled to be released today. So Raphael, I don't think is here at the moment, but he did say that he'd started the release builds. So, notwithstanding any last-minute hiccups, I think that's on schedule. That Node 25 should be out, today or at least sometime this week.
Woo! Hooray!
Sorry, I don't know. Send me the link to your note.
Okay, this thing you didn't know? Okay, it's the new ACMD thingy. Okay, we have notes on ACMD, and it's good. Okay, so now we can take notes in Markdown, and they stay in Markdown, and we don't need to Google that thing. Okay, so good. These are very good news. Okay, we made it. If there was a little bit of trouble to get everything lined up for release, and we made it. Okay. There is, I think it's important to mention that there is currently a call for volunteers from collaborators that can help on the macOS infrastructure that we use for maintaining the project. So I would probably make this call needed for okay. This is if you. Hello, hi Philip. You have a question? You have a hands up.
I have something to add to Node 25 actually, and it relates to an item we pulled out of 24 at the very beginning, and it's the deprecation of slow buffer, which is landing tomorrow again in 25. It's the end of life of slow buffer, and I'm getting reports that there are still people dependent on libraries that use it. The last time when we released 24, we made sure to patch everything that can be patched. So I would say there are still going to be people affected, and they should have means to just upgrade their dependency trees. But it might be that we missed something when 24 happened, because we did manage to actually revert the end of life rather fast. That being said, we should be on the lookout if there's anything outside of and now I know this affects the JSON Web Token library, intrinsically its dependencies, JWS library and JWA library. Those have been patched. And so if there are reports for these, it's just about, hey, people, please update your dependency trees. If you wish to use 25, you need to just npm upgrade JWA and you're done. But if it's anything else than these, then somebody's got their job cut out for them to, not make use of slow buffer.
Yeah. I am.
So this is a PSA, I guess what I'm saying.
No, it's to be honest, it's fine that it lands on 25, so people can. We have the full 25 cycle before getting it to 26. And
that's actually, I mean, that was the intent. That's why we landed it when we did. It was an accident that it went out with 24.
Correct, yeah.
It was done so much in advance of 25, specifically for this reason. But we didn't get that.
Yeah, well, look, it's cool. Good. Please remember to nominate people for the contributor spotlight. So again, it's there. It's a reminder. So it's already there for the meeting. Okay. So it's good. Okay. Board meeting updates. Oh, I do have a board meeting update for I do have a board meeting update, okay? Board met this morning, okay,
Okay.
2 hours ago.
Oh, wow.
So it's as fresh out of the press, okay? We approved the 2026 budget, which includes a reduction in spend for the LFIT support, which was the person that which was for supporting Ryan, which was responsible right now for maintaining our Node.js Mac infrastructure. And we need essentially some help from the community, okay? There's discussions from a few foundation members to provide additional resources to the project in terms of manpower. But if you are a person that's using Mac and loves Mac and likes Mac and infra, you might want to step up and help out in maintaining the Mac Stadium or Orca, whatever.
Ryan's not completely disappearing, right?
Ryan is not disappearing completely. Ryan is still involved. But it will have 10 hours a month. So essentially it's going to, and of course this can be augmented and we can spend more money if there is an emergency, but we need to be able to stand on our feet essentially without that, okay? One of the company members is going to try to see if they can help more, but if there is anybody that is a volunteer or wants to volunteer, then it's actually very good. Oh, there is Rich. Rich is here. Wow, I didn't see him. Okay, we have Rich. Hello, Rich. Welcome. I'm very happy.
Mateo, hi James. Hi.
I'm very happy
Everybody else.
to see you in the meeting. It's great.
Yeah, every once in a while I like to pop in and see what I'm missing. So here I am.
Fantastic. Okay, so I don't know if you missed, but there is a shortfall in macOS resources, macOS people, to maintain the macOS cluster for build and releases. So
Oh, okay. So it's just like it was the last time I was here and the time before that.
yes, you came in time just for that. It's just for that, so it's perfect. Okay.
We like to keep things
the same. Yeah, it has been a constant for some time in the project that we didn't like it.
That and Windows. So it's just...
Yes, that and Windows. Windows is more in hand now, and
Windows.
All right.
Windows is more behaving than usual. So which
I feel like maybe I'm pulling us down a tangent rather than focusing on the actual meeting content. So I'm going to stop doing that now. So
it's fine. Okay. So this is that is the biggest part. A few more information from that meeting. There won't be a JSConf in 2026. Okay.
There will be, there will not be.
There will not be. Okay, there will not be a JSConf in 2026. It's quite possible that there will be an event in 2027. Okay, but it depends on aligning it with other with some other frameworks and conferences and teams and so on and so forth to justify the spend. Okay. Overall, the balance is healthy. Okay, these can be shared, and we have quite a few new members coming in. Hopefully, finger crossed. So that is good. Apart from that, I don't think there is anything else to update. We are currently revising the part of the in-kind contribution model, okay, and finding a way, a more streamlined way for projects to fund themselves. So let's see if that, like, we are working on it. What I'm saying is, this was an ask for the project, and we are iterating on the topic, okay? Because Node.js is actually one of the best behaved project in that regard. Other projects have not been following the rules exactly. So we need to just change some things. Okay, anyway, apart from that, this is good. Then next meeting up is the next discussion is transfer Datadog or Castron.js to the org. I don't think we have anybody from Datadog, but we have here a friend of ours. Hello, hi, from New Relic, James Sumners, that's joined us, wanted to attend this discussion. So hello, we got a guest.
Got enough space in the.
Okay, we got a guest. What Orchestration does is the spiritual successor for of import in the middle. Okay, you all know import in the middle at this point. If you don't know import in the middle at this point, you have not been following too much about the discussion on ESM. So, which is a problem. Anyway, it's a technique that is used by all by most of the APM vendors. Thank you, to integrate with ESM and monkey patch the modules so that they can have all the instrumentation needed for that. And Orchestration is a new take on the approach. And as it was donated, import in the middle was donated. There is a question from Datadog to donate this as well. And
How long ago was the issue?
2 weeks,
Have there been any objections?
0 objections. We should just say
Processes.
Yeah.
Processes, welcome orchestration to the project.
welcome Orchestration to the project. Okay, this is what it is. Unless there is somebody objecting in the call, but I presume not.
James, I think I heard what you were saying, but if you say other things in the meeting, you might want to speak up a little. Mateo's right up on the microphone. And
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. Yeah. Just stuff. But yeah, I think you said, are there any objections? And nobody said anything.
Yeah, our process is 1 week, no objections, it's accepted, so it's accepted. Yep.
Awesome. Import in the middle was that thing Brian English did, right? For Datadog.
Also, this is Brian English doing.
Oh, they're both Brian English's stuff. Okay, great.
Both of them are Brian.
His new take on the problem.
What was that? I'm sorry.
His new take on the same.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Okay. Awesome. Great.
Cool. Okay. There is that. That was it. And yay. So this is approved. Let me write something. The team. Okay.
Some conversations are really easy to have.
This is okay. Okay, there is now, I have issue 5984 on Node.js repo. Well, it's a pull request.
I think there's a. Oh, and there is a.
Okay, this is, and the block is from okay, there's a block from Ruben. I don't think this is Joy. Okay, we have Joy.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have Marco or Ruben, so I would recommend this is table for until next meeting.
Unless anyone has like anything they would like to share about it.
Yeah.
I mean, in principle, I remember reading through it and I kind of agree with the Ruben there, but I would like to hear from both, right? I could also hear from Marco.
Yeah, same. I would rather hear from them directly rather than us try to decide it on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So move on, tabled until we have both of them. Okay. Then colorize functionality, which is issue, sorry, pull request 53523 on the node repo. Okay. And there's 2 people blocking on it. Okay.
You are one of them, Matteo.
Yeah, I was reading my objection. This I objected in 2022.
Yeah, this is very old PR.
I did it too. So the key question here, but my point here was nothing really specific.
Is this just one where we need to refresh, clear the objections, refresh?
No, but yeah, what is the last message?
The last message was done. Isn't this obsolete with util.style text?
Ruben reopen and edit the TSC.
Yeah.
But then someone else suggested that this PR is not needed because the functionality already exists in stuff that already is in Node.js.
Right.
And so I guess without Ruben here, we can't, or without somebody contacting Ruben asynchronously to get more information, or maybe just leaving a comment in here. Can't really do much with it.
Yeah.
I think the larger question here is, do we need to talk about adding core or standard library utilities for everything which gets hit by an NPM attack? But I don't think there's a valid reason for us to consider adding everything to Node.js core just because it was hit by an attack, which is the reason for this being reopened.
Yeah, it's a fair point. I mean, I definitely think that there is a ecosystem support conversation we can have. Like, it doesn't necessarily need to be added to core, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's not added to Node. Right? It could still be a separate project where it can be kept an eye on, but we can't take on the entire ecosystem that way either. So to some degree, it might just be okay, but we can't do that.
Yeah, Rich.
We also know that adding something to core is not going to stop the supply chain attacks, because popular packages will continue to be used for widely for years and years and years, possibly forever, after their functionality has been introduced in core. We've certainly seen that over and over and over again. Trim, I believe, still gets over 1 million downloads a week. When that's not even in Node core, that's in JavaScript, and it's been there for like a decade or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So to be honest, like I thought we already added it with style text.
Yeah.
So I could.
I have the impression this is a more advanced thing.
Okay,
It can do more.
it's
Style text is basic. It's very limited. Like,
Okay.
if
Look,
I'm reading it.
to be honest, I
would like to hear from Ruben. Like,
I would lead it from your Ruben, but in principle, I'm okay with adding that kind of functionality.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to adding it if it's needed. I'm opposed to having a policy where we take on things just because.
Yeah.
We should.
That was exactly my concern here, so that we don't set a precedent for, hey, there was a supply chain, let's internalize it to core. That shouldn't be our knee-jerk reaction to everything.
No, nothing. Also because even if we add it to core, it takes 3 years to percolate. So it doesn't make any. It's not really. It's not really useful. Okay, it's nothing fast in adding something to core because people don't update. Okay. By the way, if you haven't looked at the download numbers recently, okay, it's going. It's people still not updating. So I'm flagging this.
I was going to ask you about this. Like, I was hitting one of the pages. Like, kind of seems like it's missing data from after the Cloudflare migration.
No. So you have.
I was looking at the website, but we can
okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So Trot, thank you, Trot, for clarifying that the trim module is downloaded 2 million times per week, not 1 million times per week. That's beautiful. So to clarify, adding anything to core, it's not. It won't solve the problem because of it. People are not really updating much. Okay. I add like the numbers that we are seeing shows a continuous increase in downloads. Okay, like essentially it seems that we are adding more users over time, more projects. Okay, but the previous ones are not changing the version of Node. So this is it's very hard for updating. I was so yeah. So adding anything to core to solve an ecosystem attack is not useful. Okay, to be clear.
But on this particular one, we've already added style text. I don't think anyone objects to extending its functionality
No.
if it's useful.
No.
So like if the, if that would be the reason, not the supply chain
not the
thing.
supply chain. Yeah.
But I think, we've said a couple of times, Ruben's not here. We should probably, before we decide anything on this, in case there's some other aspect of this that we're missing, table it for him to be on the call. And in the meantime, just kind of set, make, add a comment to the PR that just says, I mean, we're fine with this moving in if it's not already done. That seem reasonable?
Yeah.
Any objections on that approach on the call?
So just to tell you the story, Node 22 is our most downloaded versions of all time, with around 180 million downloads in the last month. So, and this is the trend that we have been seeing for a while, that each version goes higher and higher and higher for the last few ones. So
yeah, but we would probably expect 24 to start increasing once we make that LTS later this month.
right.
So 22 is the currently highest available long-term support version of Node. So it's actually quite good that is the most downloaded version, because that is kind of what we want.
Yeah, it's kind of
other than getting more people using current, but
yeah,
if people are actually using it in production, we want them on 22. So
yes, and the 20 is a rock solid underneath. What is more worrying is the Node 18 downloads has been chipping down a little bit, but not much, not a lot. So it's that is where it gets worrying. Okay, it's Node 18 is still massively used. This is the TLDR of it. Anyway, so pretty great. The next issue is web infra access to the Search Console, issue 4127. Okay, I just saw this personally. I think it's okay to add them. Okay, I don't see why not.
Have there been any objections?
No.
I think the main question here is because it's something new in terms of, it's not something currently owned by Build or by any other team. So it's asking for the web infra team to be given access to whatever the Search Console is, but nobody else in the project has had access to it previously. So I don't even know what it is. But so this was like Ryan said, it's here and it can be set up, but then like who is vetting or saying that these people are the people that should have access, and
it needs to follow
ultimately if we're happy with it, then we give them access. So I think that's the reason it's here. It's that Ryan has looked at it and said, well, here's the procedure for adding people to have access, and it's like, should I add these people? Who's making that decision? And if ultimately I have the TSC, I think. So if we're happy as a group that the web infra team, we trust them enough to have the access, we give them access. I think that's the only reason that's here, is that the people who can give access is just saying, well, I just want to check before I give access. That it's so I think we can probably say there's no objections here, that just give them access. To Ryan that, and hope Ryan has the time to do that.
So I am putting it to Ben. Can you Node.js web infra team? Okay, that is good. Okay, then next issue is on the TSC update charter with communication responsibilities. Okay, I think we're going to have a special meeting about these things on November 5. So I would table that discussion. We need both James, which we have for a change, okay, and Darshan, that we don't have.
Yeah.
So it's we keep not having both of them in the same meeting. Okay.
And November 5, I think we'll both be able to get on that call.
Yeah.
Post period. So yeah.
Exactly. So the next issue is, let's talk about the CI situation. Now, for this, I have news. Okay. So it's currently we have around $25,000 that $23,000 that we can spend, and these amount will probably arrive at around $40,000 for 2026. So if we want to do a request for put out doing a little bit of a request for proposals for this, okay? I think it's something that we could, okay? I would probably keep avoiding committing to that until we get a little bit more clarification on the Mac situation, and keep that money as a emergency reserve fund for paying for that. But this is my take. Is also part of the TSC decision, so we could technically move forward for that for 2026 essentially, which I think is good news.
Yeah. I think we need to be very careful. I've said this before. We need to be very careful about advertising exactly how much we have available, because I don't want it to be RFPs out there saying, oh, you have 40K, I'll do it for 40K.
No, we can't, by the way, we can't do for 40K, because 40K is the forecasted, more or less, considering what is coming. Right now, as I said, in the bank, this is public data. Okay.
It's public data, but I think we need to be very careful about, how we structure the RFP, the call for proposals. So we don't end up with something that's tuned to the size of, to the amount we have available.
Yeah, but we should probably keep some of that money for other stuff too.
So
100%.
So it's something that needs, I don't know, it's probably on my plate to lead on that. There was Joey at some point. Yeah,
and Joey, I know you've dealt with a lot of CI stuff here recently, and this nothing. I'm kind of wondering if you have any thoughts on specific needs here. Like, should we focus an RFP on a very particular area, or is it just CI in general?
I would guess just follow the reliability report and fix things. I think the kind of more actionable things that people can do is just regularly check the reports, and you see something that's like obviously flake, like I think the last one is like something that flaked 16 per request. Well, that must be the flake. Then you do something about it. There's a guide on what you do when you see this, like step-by-step guide. Maybe it's not exhaustive, but like you just need someone to continue doing this. I was actually thinking about, like, I don't want to do this. Can I write an agent that does this? But I mean, that's kind of far-fetched. But like, if there's a human being that's not not an agent to do this, that's also like helpful enough.
Maybe just have somebody. So if we structure the RFP such as that, this is somebody to shepherd these things, kind of like remind folks and like, hey, we have this, or maybe even do some initial triage on these, so get a better sense of who to ping for it. Might be good. I think the biggest problem is just awareness. These things flake and people aren't paying attention to it. So we need somebody to kind of babysit to actually pay attention to it.
I mean, we can definitely look at automation to take the reliability reports and open issues directly on Node.js, but it ultimately still requires someone to look at it. So we can help on the reporting and like making people aware, but we already have the things collecting or looking at the PRs and looking at and looking at the CI results. It's ultimately finding people that have the interest or time to look at the once you alert them to actually look at it. So we have issues open of test flakes, and a lot of the time they just end up being skipped, but there's not much in the way of effort of going back at looking at the skips and trying to sort out the actual thing. So we get a bigger pile of technical debt of, oh, we know the test is flaky, we're skipping it for now, or marking it was flaky, and it just builds and builds. So yeah, unfortunately, a lot of well-meaning people will suggest tooling or AI tools, but ultimately you need someone, even if it was an AI tool, you need someone with the time to review it and actually say, yeah, this is actually making things better, or it's actually going to make things worse. And yeah, it's time. And I don't know that there's an easy solution other than maybe the proposal to perhaps fund people. But it's like, yeah, it's there is only so far you can go with tooling and automation, and ultimately at the end of the day, you need people,
Yeah.
whoever they are.
The security thing, it actually, it required us just to have somebody dedicated on it for a while to kind of get a handle on it, and so I think with this, we structure the RFP such that it's, you're watching for the flakes, you're triaging the flakes. If there's low-hanging fruit, it's like simple things that can be fixed. Great. If it's larger things, then it's about wrangling the people. But I think even if it's just like somebody fixing the smaller flakes so they just get done and they don't just accumulate, that alone would be super valuable. And I don't think that it shouldn't require a huge amount of spend.
I think the most useful, like in terms of like picking for the bug, uh, the thing that really needs human being involved is to actually fix those. Like you can spend that budget on, I don't know, developing automation so that there's an issue opened when some flakes happening. But I think even with that in place, you only get like, I don't know, to maybe 10% of the thing out of the door. Because like sometimes when I have the time to like do something about it, I walk through the reliability reports, I open issues. If it's a test that I'm just not very familiar with, that I am not confident enough to like do anything about it, I would like ping people. But I would say out of experience, most of the times you would not get a response and it would just continue flaking. Like even if there is an issue, the most effective way to like make it go away is to just dive into that test and try to fix it yourself. I sometimes do that myself when I'm confident enough with the test. When I'm not confident enough, or like I'm out of ideas, I use not Cloco, like Copilot to like, I have this and the stack trace, like give me some clues, and I try different clues and see if the stress test CI come back clean. Or sometimes I know the test well enough, then I do not use AI. I think it just needs someone to like have time to do this. Um, so yeah, that's my thoughts about it. But I guess the most, like in terms of like measuring the work, it would be like somebody doing the I sent a link to the chat about like the basically the process of handling, like you just need someone to like do this daily, maybe maybe not daily, but like very regularly. And then you can measure it by, we have a measurement of how green the CI is, so you can just measure the result of the work by seeing how green the CI is. We have numbers. uh I think that would be a good place to start.
Um, we're always going to end up getting new flakes, but if we just paid somebody, like we're gonna, we'll pay you for 2 months, 3 months, just burn down the flakes that we currently have, and and just at least catch us up.
Yeah.
Is that enough?
That
I
is.
mean, I know that's, or are we saying this is an open-ended contract that it just?
So somebody spoke to me and asked, why don't we do what Upstream V8 does, which is as soon as they get like flakes or something, they back out changes automatically. I think it's quite drastic, but it's not even an option for us until, like you say, we burn down the current flakes. We could have that discussion. If we manage to burn down the flakes so we don't have flakes, then maybe we could look at, how do we stop it increasing in the future and take more drastic actions. I mean, it's quite radical, but yeah, it's just, at the moment, as it is at the moment, it's very difficult to make other decisions other than to just try keeping up because it's ever growing at the moment. But
There is
if you could burn it down, then there are other options we could talk about, but they might be a lot more drastic than the project is willing to tolerate.
so there are also some tests, okay, which are flaky and cannot be made unflaky, okay, because there are some in some cases that I've seen, okay, you try to write a file and for whatever reason the file system in that specific machine is not behaving, okay. It happened quite some time, or it has a massive delay in, there is a typical talk to problem, and you write a file and the file is not there after you've written, and in all machines the test pass 100% of the time, but on some of those things it's very hard. Like this is one of the example for example for the watch utility that's very flaky and
Yeah, but those are definitely the minority. And if we focus on just a burn down of the current backlog,
yeah,
right, then we can actually deal with those other ones a lot better.
yeah.
So like if we look at a very scoped RFP where the statement of work is, take us from whatever percentage of flakes we're at now, like, so you said, how often we're green or not green, and let's put in a target.
Yeah,
we want from here, or we get to here.
Yeah,
that's what this current budget covers.
Yeah,
and then we'll reevaluate from there. That seem reasonable to folks?
I think well the way we measure green tests also kind of exclude the orange status. So maybe part of the scope will also be try to make it not orange, because like for example, what's currently happening in macOS right now is that the single executable tests are constantly flaky on macOS x64. So when that is combined with the actual failure, and then you need to resume, you are resuming a flaky platform, because the flake would make it, if you resume, it'll run again. And then, macOS is already kind of problematic, and then you just pile more jobs onto, it just gets worse. So like make it not orange. I think that also happened to Windows at some point in the past. Like it's constantly orange. You need to do something to make it at least not orange, because like orange is actually not great either. So making not orange is also should be also part of the thing, but that kind of need someone to like be confident enough to like call it like, no, let's just skip it. You kind of need to have the sort of confidence to be able to call, no, this is enough. Stop it and just skip it on that platform.
Yeah, no, I think the PR you opened to skip it is the right thing to do. The reason that it's marked flaky and not skipped at the moment is that when I opened the PR, we were still testing on 10.13, macOS 13, and the tests were passing on macOS 13, but they were consistently failing on 15. So I put them as flaky because I couldn't, in the status files, I couldn't make the distinction between macOS 10.15 and macOS 10.13. But then it turned out that we stopped testing on 10.13 anyway. So I think your change to skip it is now the right thing to do. But at the time, it was flaky because it was passing on some platforms and not passing on others. But yeah, if it is failing all the time, then probably skipping is the right thing rather than marking it as flake.
Yeah, it will kind of like need somebody to like be like
Yeah,
somewhat like I don't as knowledgeable about like whether this is something that's worth continuing supporting. Like macOS x64 in 2025 is like something that's just like you probably you have a sense of like this is not something that anybody will invest time in. So you need someone to have that kind of sense that, well, no longer no longer worth. But sometimes when you try to skip something, that might actually have some consequences, more consequences than macOS 64. So
Well, this
um,
is a bit of a tangent, but I mean, that is a very good question. Is like, how long do we need to keep supporting Intel Mac OS in Node? Because, you know, coupled with things like the concerns over support for infrastructure, you know, could we help the maintenance a bit by cutting that platform out of the support matrix?
Yes.
So,
But
so
like-
that is a discussion we can have, you know, not right now, but, you know, in terms of like looking forward to, like, say, Node 26,
We can.
is that the right moment to say, like, you know,
Let's just do it.
ARM now? Yeah.
like at least like single executable applications, there's like a small set of features that well people may not care anymore. Like downstream users might actually not care anymore. So you get kind of sort of confident, but there might be some like core part of the functionality that yes. So you have like um different granularity of support in terms of dropping platform support. But yeah, I think that's also like something that can be sort of investigated to kind of like reduce the burden. Um, yeah, and I think also something that I did in the past was to trying to split like very large tests that were flaky. I think I encountered that like at least 3 times that I can remember, like the WASM test, the crypto test, and what was the latest one? The FS Watch, I think. Like there were like a huge test that was marked flaky, and then you have regressions masked by it, and then if you make a test marked as flaky and just leave it there, it will just rot and have consequences actually by hiding regressions. So I think maybe part of the scope will also be like try to look into the rotting tests and make sure that they are not rotting. Like you do some touches with them instead of just keep them rotting. There's like, you know, the to-do list would be in the status file. You need to go through the status file and make sure they're not rotting. Like rotting in a terrible way. Like they can rot, but like maybe not in a terrible way, like masking regressions.
Do we have any sense, like, how many of the flaky tests are stable APIs versus experimental APIs? Because, yeah, one of the things I'm looking at doing, I'm probably gonna do this by the end of the week, is all of the quick tests that are added, since that's still very experimental and still in thing, and I've seen some flakes there. I'm just gonna go mark them all flaky. And I'm wondering if we have a high number of experimental APIs that are flaky, maybe we just need a policy that while they're experimental, they're automatically marked flaky.
I think that
I'm
might
not, oh, yeah, go.
oh sorry. I think that might be somewhat difficult to automate or keep in mind. But like at least from my impression, the experimental ones are not the most problematic ones. They are like ones that are just sort of uh difficult to write, like you know, performance uh performance tests with timing delta checks, and then inspector tests because you have the inspector server to talk to, and then the FS watch test because watch is just watch is just unreliable. Um, I think those are like the more common source of flakes that just keep coming up in the CI or certain platforms in terms of patterns. Less so the experimental like experimentalness with the API. That's like less of a concern.
That's fair. It's sounding like we're all in agreement that something needs to be done. I think that what we need is somebody to draft an RFP.
There was already some work done by Michael. I'll check out. There was some early work.
Something done, okay.
There was, I think, something done.
But I think what we need to do, I mean, just based on this conversation, and correct me, anyone, if I'm off. The priority is the burn down. So what we're talking about is paying somebody for a month, 2 months, maybe 3 months worth of work. The primary focus is triage and burn down of the existing flaky test backlog. try to get get it as green as possible. And then once that contract is up, we take a step back, reevaluate, see where we're at, and see what else, what additional steps we need to go from there.
Yeah.
Does that seem reasonable?
I think so, yeah, I think.
Just think that as a project, should probably prioritize the macOS infrastructure, right? Like if
Yeah,
in case we need to
we need to
tackle that.
let, so I would say, like, so my take here is, I don't think that this amount of money is enough to cover for that. Okay, so, and we need to find a different solution for that problem.
For Mac
But-
Specifically.
Yeah, for Mac,
Right.
for the Mac infra, okay? After that is done, after that is nailed, we can move this forward, okay? And I think with a small budget or something, like literally just a couple of months, okay? To burn down the flakiness from X to burn down the flakiness, okay? We need to get some stats on, what are the issues, what are the flaky tests, and so on and so forth, like extracting a list of things to look at, okay?
I mean, Joy said it, the status is the to-do list, so they're already there.
Yeah, no, I know, but if we want to assemble an RFP, you need to pull that information and put that information in a more textual format to get a quote off. Okay, so.
All right, I'm capturing this next step, draft an RFP, focusing on burn down of existing flaky test backlog, get CI as green as possible.
Yeah.
We're looking at a 2 to 3 month time period.
Yeah.
Most likely it's probably gonna be at that 3 month thing, but we and then reevaluate after the 3 months. So we need
I don't-
a statement of work for that 3 months.
Yeah, for that 3 months, yes, with a cap of a certain amount of money.
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does it make sense?
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, fantastic. I think this was a great productive meeting. Thank you all. Thank you, everybody.
Do we have any private?
I don't think we have any private. Okay. But maybe a little bit. That's one thing. Let's stay on. I'm going to stop the live stream and then where is it?
Goodbye, anybody watching.
Bye. Let me stay on for a private thing.